Peace. Today is S for son. My name is BJ Lomax. I'm the 26-year-old son of Bilal Rasul. Growing up, without having my father, him being incarcerated in prison, life was pretty difficult for myself, I'd say. My family, we grew up on the south side of Statesville. My mother, she was a single mother of 5 kids. And not finding out about my real father, my biological father, until I was around 10 years old. Life just hit me in a lot of ways. Having to grow up as a young black man on the south side of Statesville, you see a lot of things, you experience a lot of things, and you go through a lot of things that, a lot of kids shouldn't be exposed to, or they should have somebody there to be able to guide them through those steps. Growing up, I played baseball, basketball at this organization called Power Cross Ministries in Statesville, North Carolina. And, that really gave me the opportunity to be able to have father figures step into my life. A lot of people stepped up to the plate, took me under their wing and gave me opportunities, gave me places to stay, lots of coaching, training and stuff, and just multiple opportunities to be able to try to become the best man that I could be. But that although I had those people in my life, life still wasn't the same. Especially, looking at other people after games, watching their fathers, put their arms around their son's shoulders and, them just replaying the game, going over how things went well, what they could have done better, or just praising them or anything like that. Being the oldest boy out of 5 kids, the second oldest son, I was really the man in the house. So I had to really learn how to, do everything myself. I would say about the age of 13 is where I started kind of like separating myself from my family and stuff and, just trying to explore this world and see what this life brings you. Having my father in prison, once we found out about each other, our relationship was real tight. As young kids and stuff, as I was a young kid, we got really close. He would write me letters every single week. He used to send me gum in the letters, like he'll send me gums or some cologne and stuff like that. Or some oils, excuse me. And just do anything he can. He was a funny man, and just do a lot that he can from being behind the walls. My father, he's had the mentality that, since I've met him, that he's never going back to prison. And I'm a witness to be able to, and say that I can attest that his journey that he's currently on is the best thing. And he's real focused with it. Best thing for him. Honestly, there's not a lot that I can say, too bad about my father, reflecting on my life, reflecting on his life. Of course, there's nothing that I would say with dirt, but, it's really just more of praise. A lot of people, they go and they spend a lot of time in prison and they spending 20 years in prison, 23, 24 years in prison. I couldn't imagine coming outside of the world, outside the malls and expecting to, go with reality. The world doesn't slow down, for anything. So the day he comes home, there's that high for the first few days and stuff, and then he has to start working for himself. And, being able to see my father do his ABC documentary series, for the Prison Survivor Network, and, just going out into the community and just doing the best that he can to, to help change other people's lives. It makes me so much more prouder as a son, more or less as a peer, but, I'm just real happy to see my father come home and he's done a complete 360. The way that life works and stuff, I'm currently out living in Montana, the state of Montana. So I'm not actually able to be around my father as much as we would like to be, but, we do keep in touch very often. And that's why I'm able to speak on these things. My father and I, we have the same goal, and that's just to be able to help these kids get off the streets and, realize that there's a lot more purpose to life than, just gangbanging, wanting to sling some dope or whatever the case may be. And, also just finding hope in, school. There's, lots of things in trades, sports, of course. There's a lot of outlets to be able to get you outside of Statesville. And, with my upbringing and, just things that I've been taught and the things that I've had to go through and the lessons that I've had to learn, I'm fortunate enough to be able to be outside of Statesville, North Carolina. One more thing I'd like to say before I end all this is that, Proverbs 22:6, it says, teach your children to choose the right path, and when they are older, they'll remain upon it. And that's just something that was embedded in me as a young kid, with Power Cross organizations, the Power Cross ministries and stuff. But, it's just out of Proverbs, and it's one of those things that anybody can apply to their life. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got a path that you're able to choose and stuff like that. And then you end up having a kid. Well, that kid has to become the majority part of your life, and that has to be your number one priority. Teach that kid to choose the right path, and when they're older, they'll remain upon it. You'll have a kid that's better than who you are as a man or as a woman. And, life, you'll just be able to see the luxurious life that they get to live. My name is BJ Lomax. I'm the son of Bilal Rasul. This is the ABC series documentaries going on right now that my father is doing. This is the S for son. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. I hope you guys have a great week. Be safe out there in the cold weather. Remember, be royal. Life is good when you're free.